Okay, saw this good movie and it had a real good illustration in it about temptation, and it got my attention. Whoever produced it had a real purpose, and lately I've been thinking about why Jesus showed up on earth to destroy the work of the devil. So imagine this so you can see it how I saw it. Imagine there's this man and he's in a vision and he sees himself giving him bad advice. He's doing all kind of wrong stuff, making dumb decisions and having a hard life. There's somebody on the street sees him and gives him a paper telling him about Jesus. So the dude takes it home and he just sits it down and he starts watching the game. And the Holy Spirit shows up to him and says, well, no, his conscience shows up and says to him, you've been ignoring me. Every time I'm talking to you, you ignore me. And the more you ignore me, the more you get used to ignoring me. You're dulling me out to where soon I'm weary, I'm tired. Soon I'm going to stop talking to you. And I like that part because it's true. When a person never listens to their conscience, when people say stuff like, my first mind told me, I always say your first mind is usually God. And then that second mind will always reason with you why you should do something dumb or why you should follow through with what you're doing. So back to the point. The conscience starts telling the man, God put in every man a God-given conscience to turn the man away from basically dead works, wrong things. So he says, somebody handed you that track, why haven't you read it? You came home, I told you to read it, and you just set it down and you start watching the game. So the man started reasoning with himself and he realized, you know what, let me go ahead and read this. He starts reading it, it makes perfect sense to him. He breaks down and he's like, I need God. So he starts pleading with the Spirit of God. So in the vision, as he's thinking, Jesus shows up and he's leading him to God. And then after he's led to God, he get this real thirst to start reading his word. He's growing, and it shows him, his natural man who led him into trouble, who always had him doing wrong. It showed this man in a corner, like with his hand like this, looking real bored, like getting no attention. And he's praying, he's reading, and he's praying and he's reading. And the whole time, his normal self's coming up, looking at him, turning around, walking away, going, sitting down to do nothing. So I can relate to this because I remember my start of living for God. All my old ways, my old friends, I put that stuff away. I really didn't deal much in that. I didn't do much of the same things I used to do. And in the process, I'm a firm believer of this. There's a spiritual saying, and I agree with it. If you starve your flesh and feed your spirit, whoever you feed the more will be the stronger. And what was happening was he was growing stronger and stronger in the spirit, and his natural man was getting weaker and weaker. The Bible tells us to crucify our flesh, meaning kill it. Kill your natural desires. Kill anything in you that'll kill you. So, make a long story short, the devil himself caused the man's natural mind pretty much to hell. And they show an image of a man who's supposed to be the devil. And he's like, I'm disappointed in you. Why have you stopped? Why aren't you trying harder? And he was like, well, he won't listen to me. Every time I'm telling him this, telling him that, you know he's not listening. And the devil says, that's not how I tricked Eve. He said, come with something that seems innocent. Don't, don't keep suggesting things that he's going to recognize as wrong. That's not how you do it. You have to be crafty. You have to be smart. So his fleshly man listened to the devil and he said, now go back and stop him from growing. Make sure he comes to hell. So dude goes back and he's thinking and he looks over at the man reading and his phone rings and he says, get that call, get that call. That could be very important. That might be an important person. So the dude, like, he keeps praying and he like, get that call, that might be real important. So finally, the Holy Spirit's like, don't get that call. He's wrestling. He's thinking, what should I do? Finally, he reaches for the phone and picks up the phone because his flesh pressures him so much that he goes ahead and get curious and he picks up the phone. Then, then it's a friend of his, and his friend is watching a game, and his friend is like, we just won. So he get up, he start dancing and celebrating and singing. He go throw on his jersey, team jersey, and he like, let's go celebrate. So the man goes out to celebrate with his friend, and then it shows his fleshly man talking to the devil in hell, and the devil's like, good job, well done. He's like, he's getting tired. He's not paying attention to the spirit. He's getting weaker and weaker. He's not reading. He's not. And I like the illustration. Like, man, this ministry is powerful because that's the truth. The more and more you read your word, the more you gain strength. And what happens in the process of gaining strength is the natural you or the old you dies and the new you comes out. So God needs us, well, not needs us, but requires us to be the new man that he pretty much destined us to be. The devil just needs us to keep flowing in the old us so that he can eventually have us where he's at. So with all that said, today, see to it that you're fighting your the natural you. When it's time to do something dumb that's not profitable or wouldn't benefit you in the long run, and you know it's wrong, and you hear your conscience or the Holy Spirit speaking to you, yield to it. Slow down, listen, do what it's telling you to do so that you can grow. That's it.